Now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the co-president of Nordstrom, Erik Nordstrom, for an interview with retail reporter from CNBC, Courtney Reagan.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having us here today. This is really awesome. We get to kind of help kick off Shoptalk. It's a great event. Been coming to this event for a number of years. It's an honor to be here with you, Erik. Thanks for doing this today. I got to start off on a tough topic and truly send my sincerest condolences about losing your brother, Blake. And we only go here because, of course, you were co-presidents together. And it was brought up recently on the earnings call. Is there anything that's changed materially in the management of the company in the very short time since you've lost Blake? And how are you approaching leadership now?
Yeah, it's obviously a tough subject for us. I mean, yes and no. We've been co-presidents, the three of us, me, Pete, and Blake, and so from that structure, and we're a public company, and so our board has all these plans in place, and so from that, it's not like a lot of new subjects, but on the other hand, everything's changed. It's the three of us, we worked as a team and really worked hard at being the best team we could be, which meant, emphasizing the individual talents for three different people. And that surprised me a bit on kind of how much, without having Blake there, just how much over the last 20 years in particular, we had really worked to have a synergy amongst us and be the best team we could be in whatever our individual assignments were. So yeah, to have me and Pete, it is different, but mainly we just miss him. Blake's been always my big brother and been such an inspiration, and even more so these last couple months. And I think for me and Pete, and really for our whole company, there's been so many wonderful stories. I've probably heard from a lot of people in the audience, and people have been terrific and supportive. But it is a nice thing of our company. Blake personified so much of what our values, our culture are, and what we aspire to be, and so he is. He can live on. For us, we can keep his legacy alive, and our whole team thinks of many subjects. We think of Blake, and so that is inspiring for us.
Absolutely. You just reported your fourth quarter results just a couple days ago, so all these numbers and ideas are probably fresh in your mind. It seemed like in 2018, there were all of these signs that there was recovery in retail, the high end, the middle, the low end, and then December happened, and something seemed to change in other areas of retail, and Nordstrom saw it too, and then saw some weakness continue into January. Was it just that the U.S. economy was so strong that it was lifting all boats, and now we're starting to see signs of weakness? Or how do you explain the change in what happened?
Well, I'm really not in a position to talk about the whole economy. That's not my expertise. I can talk about what we saw, and I would say there's plenty of things within our control. We're retailers. It starts with product, and we gotta take that on and have a more compelling product offering. In particular, during the holidays, we did, at least for our customers, we learned that many of our customers did pull back on shopping for themselves. They didn't sacrifice their gift giving, and a lot of our business is done people shopping for themselves. So we have a broad range of merchandise. We think we can and should do a much better job of having gift giving offer for our customers. The other thing just for us that happened in December unexpectedly was store traffic. Our online trends stayed pretty consistent, but our falling store traffic pretty suddenly took a step down, and it had been consistent all year, so that was a surprise.
And do you have any idea why that happened? If it was after the holiday, so it's not about not buying for yourself when you're buying for others, where did that shopper go? Where is the traffic?
I don't know.
You don't know?
We don't know yet. We're still doing a lot of, as you can imagine, a lot of work on that. For us, we have two big events during the year. We have our anniversary sale in July, and then holiday, which all retailers have. And we have seen for the last several years, whatever trends there are of shift from store to e-commerce, they accelerate during those specific events. Again, it's been pretty steady, and it took a step change this year, and I'm really not sure why.
So this year is going to be a big year with an opening of a store in New York City. You did open your men's flagship store in New York City for the first time, having a presence of a full-line store in New York City. And this comes at a time when Hudson Yards is going to be opening here in the spring. Brookfield Place redeveloped, at least in the last several years, as well with the Westfield World Trade Center. But the Saks women's store at Brookfield Place actually recently closed after being open for just 2 years. Does that give you any pause about what you're about to open with this women's store at Nordstrom in New York City?
Well, I mean, it's a huge deal for us. It's the biggest investment in the history of our company. More so, again, we're lifelong retailers. It's like preparing your whole lives, and you get to go to the Super Bowl. So we're mainly just super excited. And any of our stores, they take a couple years from signing to coming to opening date. And things can change. Our stores are long-term investments. New York in particular, it's a very complex, been a long project, and inevitably there's swings in the external environment that we can't control. When we originally signed the deal, it was in the recession, and that actually benefited us. We were able to get some real estate terms that allowed us to do it. So no, we don't get overly concerned with short-term trends. I mean, we're certainly aware of them, but New York is obviously just such a vibrant city and retail market that it's. I go there, and there's maybe the people are spending less, but there's a lot of people there, and we're just very excited to be able to bring our really biggest, best representation of our brand.
Another very interesting investment that you made recently is in Los Angeles with the local store, very service-oriented. Is that something that you believe is scalable in the relative near term? And can you share any learnings that you've gotten from that so far about how the consumers are using that location or those locations?
Sure. Yeah, I'd start with, it can get a little confusing. Our local store, called Nordstrom Local, is really part of a bigger strategy we call our local market strategy. And really, in its simplest terms, is about what assets can we bring to bear in a local market to serve customers better. Certainly we have digital assets, and we have physical assets called stores, but it's looking as a market and not looking through this kind of restrictive lens of just stores, saying what physical assets could engage customers better. And the thought of a smaller store that wasn't about displaying merchandise, but was more about engagement of the many services we can provide, something that we wanted to try. So we tried it in Los Angeles. We have 3 locals right now, and we've learned a ton. We've learned that it's actually, in a smaller store where there's not merchandise displayed, it is easier to communicate all the services we have with our customers. Probably the most popular services is returns, customers having a place to do a return, which may not sound that exciting. It actually is a big move in our business. Having not only having a convenient place for customers, there's a big customer win there, but we have found that our returns come back to us faster. We get comments. I got a note from a customer last week that talked about how much she loves the local store and that she drives around with returns to do in her trunk, waiting for the next trip to the mall. And traffic in LA, she's not very excited about driving them all, and that she loves the local because she can drop them off. It's better for us to get returns back faster. I mean, part of selling online, certainly in our categories, the return rate is higher. So having a spot for more convenient returns, it's a terrific point of engagement for us. Second most would be customers doing order pickup, be it a ship to store, buy online, pick up in store. Again, much more on the customer's terms. And then lastly, alterations. And alterations is a good example. It's it's not a digital service. It's kind of old world. It's something we've done for a long time. I believe we have the most tailors of any company in North America. But it's a different way for us to look at it, of not kind of a service behind the scenes. How do we put it up front? And it's amazing to me how many customers we have in Los Angeles who've been there a long time, but they don't realize we have alteration services. It can get buried in a big store. So those points of engagement, there's many other services that we're testing there. And I think it's probably going to be a theme through the next couple days here. I think everyone's learning. The more you can engage with the customer, it's all good. It leads to increased spend, or leads to increased loyalty. And there are these activities that lend themselves to the connection point of digital and physical experiences.
So 2 follow-ups on that point. You're talking about returns. You can also bring returns back to other Nordstrom stores as well. And at the other Nordstrom stores, you would have the opportunity to potentially get a radiated sale because you actually have merchandise there. And that's not the case, though, at these local stores necessarily. Is something like this scalable, this service-oriented type Nordstrom experience, or does it just work better in very small areas of the country?
It's certainly our hope to scale it, to make it very scalable. And really, we're learning so much. I mean, the industry is in such a sea of change. And one of the questions we get asked a lot about, I think all retailers get asked about who have stores, is about store closures and what's the right footprint, and really wanting to look at store by store. And for us, it's been enlightening to look at it. It's not about kind of store strategies. What are we going to do about store traffic? It's about a market. How do we serve those customers in that market better? And what assets can we bring? And a local store, if we can do it right, they're very cost efficient. They're high engagement. They lead to certainly a significant lift in customer spend. Customers come in there, and I think your example is a good one. You can look at it, I think, too granularly and say, boy, we'd rather have a customer return to a full line store where we can turn that return around, because sometimes that does happen. What we just keep learning again and again, and then I guess we should have to learn this, do what the customer wants. The customer wants to get in and out quickly, and there's a more convenient way of doing that. It does pay off for us. It may not pay off for us in those 5 minutes, but we've got plenty of data now that definitely does pay off for us.
And so Nordstrom has a significant business online. 30% now of your sales come online. Not everyone discloses that, but you all do. And so how do you then think about the interplay between the stores and the online business? What do you think is the ultimate sort of split? Is it going to be 50-50 at some point? Is it going to be 60-40? Do you still need the stores that you have, to your point, when you said people ask you about store closures? You're doing such a significant business online.
Well, the only time we talk about kind of breaking out the ratio of e-commerce to stores are things like this. We really don't manage our business that way. We are agnostic to where a customer does a purchase with us. The contribution margin of our online sale is about the exact same as a full line store sale. So we don't have that hurdle to get over. And increasingly, it's really impossible to separate out a digital journey from a physical journey. We know that over half of our store visits started with that customer going online. We know that just under half of our store customers pull out their phone at some point in the shopping journey to help with that. We know that I think it's about 35% of our online purchases start with a store visit. So these things become very blurred, and when it goes to what's the store footprint, again, for us, it's looking at market by market. what is the right mix of assets to have there. And those assets certainly include stores, but a couple years from now, I'm sure it could include locals, it could include small but very fast-moving supply chain facilities. We're opening one in Los Angeles in a couple months that can both serve our customers directly and serve our stores in very fast ways. And part of the reality of our categories is it's broad and shallow. It's fashion. There's always newness. So that inventory, instead of viewing that and seeing that as, boy, that's a liability, it's an asset for us because we have that inventory very close to where our customers are. We have a lot of customers in Los Angeles in this example, and we can get them an enormous selection within a day. 18 months from now, the selection our customers in Southern California have to get within a day will be many times bigger than we have right now. We'll get it to them faster, and it'll be at a lower cost for us. So it really changes the model.
Speaking of changing the model, Nordstrom has worked with many direct-to-consumer brands. You've sold merchandise from Away and Allbirds, at one point Bonobos, Eloquy. Would you ever look at buying one of these brands? I think you said sales are something like 9% for the strategic brands, the growth rate, and that's much better than the total business.
I don't think so. I mean, that's not our business to own brands. We were an early investor in Bonobos. That was really, we thought they were doing something very interesting and with their guide shops and being really a digitally native brand. They were early on that. And to work with them required a small investment at the time. No, our focus is being the best brand partner we can be. We have a very strong belief that for our categories, brands really matter. And that not everyone operates that way. We believe that fashion is about discovery of new product, that many of the best customer experiences our customers engage with us, be it online or in stores, and they leave with something they know they wouldn't have gotten on their own. It wasn't on their list. So that discovery of new brands, that bringing that brand story to life, and oftentimes that is done best in the physical environment. That is our focus. And those brands you've mentioned, it is very explicitly our focus to be the best brand partner, have a full price business, have one that's driven on newness and bringing these brand stories to life where these coveted brands will seek us as a partner.
At one point, not so long ago, you all looked at taking the company private, didn't end up working out. Are you making choices differently now, operating as a public company, than you would have if you operated as a private one?
I don't think so. Our strategy's been consistent. I think when we look in hindsight, we don't think the strategic choices or direction has been off. We think we've been too slow. We think we need to be more agile. Things are changing, and I don't know if anyone is. We're certainly not smart enough to predict all the changes that happen. The general direction, I think, in capture of more digital influences in customers' lives. For us, key to our model is not only having stores and online, but having our full price business, Nordstrom, and having our off price business, Nordstrom Rack. There's a synergy to our model. Customers do migrate from our Rack business to our full price business. There's a lot of data there that we can continue to leverage and serve customers better. We need to move faster, and public or private, that's the same.
So you think you can move as fast as you need to being a public company?
Oh yeah, we sat our board meetings last week, and our board's terrific. They're definitely prodding us to move faster.
All right. I think we're about out of time, but I have to ask you, as we sit here, I always like to think about the future, and I know it's impossible. None of us are fortune tellers, but what do you think department stores will look like? Will there be department stores 10 years from now, in 2029?
Yeah, I don't know. I certainly don't think I'm a spokesperson for all department stores. We don't consider ourselves a department store. We get lumped into that because we're big stores in the mall with an escalator. We've always thought of ourselves as a fashion specialty store. I think the industry is going to be very different. Again, I think what physical retail is not going away. I don't think there's any view of that. But what physical retail means, how that's brought to life, I have no doubt will look very different. And that's, so for us, how do we learn quickly? How do we get a lot of tests going on out there and then move in a very agile way to what the customer's telling us?
Well, thank you so much. I look forward to that New York City store opening. That's going to be very exciting and a big new step for the company. Thank you so much, Erik Nordstrom. I appreciate you doing this today.
Thank you.